Okay, welcome everyone to this on-demand webinar. Now, Lynn and I are super excited because if you're hoping to learn how to optimize the B2B buyer's journey for 2024 and beyond, we're going to give you some actionable insights on that today. Now, as a quick introduction, Lynn is the founder and owner of Ink and Key, a creative branding and marketing agency in Columbia, South Carolina. She is StoryBrand certified. She is a naming expert along with her 18-member team. She is level C certified specialist. You'll definitely want to connect with her. So just search for Lynn Brand Strategy on LinkedIn. All right. And my name is John, and I'm the founder of pipelineapp.io. And my specialty is removing all the unnecessary steps for your leads to become customers. Because in 2024, buyers of B2B high-ticket services expect a simpler, self-driven process. So definitely connect with me to learn how to meet those brand new expectations. All right, just search for John Sales Friction on LinkedIn. I'm going to be one of the top results. All right, let's get started. Today, we're going to cover two major parts, the buyer's journey and automations. And the buyer's journey is Lynn's specialty here, so I'm going to turn it over to her.
So this is going to be fun. You're going to have to get used to a few little additions of stick figures in my slides. And I'm just honored to be here with John. So the first thing we need to do is get on the same page. So John had mentioned we are going to be talking about the buyer's journey. So we need to define that. What is the buyer's journey? So according to HubSpot, the buyer's journey has 3 stages. Awareness, where the buyer realizes I have a problem. And then consideration, where the buyer realizes, okay, I've got a problem. Now I need a solution to it. And then decision, where the buyer makes the decision that we as business owners get happy about. They make a decision to buy, hopefully, what we have to offer. So awareness, consideration, and decision. So we're going to talk about 2 practical ways to help buyers move through these 3 stages of their journey. We don't want buyers to just sit still in one stage. So why should we care about the buyer's journey? Well, it's because we care about our buyers. Our buyers are our customers. They're the people that we serve. They're why we do what we do. But there's more to the buyer's journey than just awareness, consideration, and a decision. So we're going to talk about that next. Get ready. Our buyers are humans. And as a marketer, as a business owner, I approach my buyers with empathy, and I'm sure that you do too. So there are other things going on in their lives besides just being in this buyer's journey. They're in a situation. There's something going on in their lives whenever they encounter your brand and my brand. So I like to visually imagine my buyer in what I call the situation room. Okay. This is where they're at. This is what's going on with them when they encounter my brand. Are they problem aware? Are they solution aware? And the most important question, can they connect the solution to my brand? So we have to learn what's going on in our customers' world. If we don't, we're going to miss out. We're going to end up not connecting with them. So what do they understand about the problem that they're seeking a solution to? So take a look at our cute little people here. So we have the awareness stage, right? But there might be people in that awareness stage that aren't quite aware yet. Like they might be experiencing some symptoms of the problem, but they might not even be able to define what the problem is. They're not problem aware. We want our buyers to be problem aware. We want them to realize, okay, I have a problem. We want them to be able to say it and name it and know what it is so they can move to the next stage, right? So when they're in the next stage, the consideration stage, there might be some people in there who aren't solution aware. They know they have a problem, but they don't know how to solve it. If they don't know how to solve it, they can't look us up, right? Because they don't know even about the solution that we have to offer. So we want to move people from problem aware to solution aware, because if they're aware of the solution, then we can show up for them. And now take a look at yourself, because you are that little superhero. If you're a guy, imagine yourself without the long hair perhaps, but you're going to show up where your customer is. You're going to build a bridge to buying. You're going to help them move from consideration to decision. You have to show up where they are so they know, like, and trust you so they can move over and make that decision, hand you the money so that you can give them the solution to the problem. The way you do that is you help them connect the problem they're struggling with the solution you have to offer. If there's nothing else you remember from this, remember that you need to connect the problem that your customer is struggling with to the solution that you have to offer. If you can do that, you're going to win. So this is an example. So you understand the buyer's journey. You want to help your potential buyers first understand they have a problem, and then move from awareness to consideration. So they connect your brand to the solution they need and buy from you. All right. Now, it's not always that simple though, right? See if you can relate to this. You might be spending time, money, and energy doing all the things, sending emails, writing content, posting on social media. You might even be spending some money on ads, okay? But still, your buyers aren't moving from awareness to consideration. And our goal is to figure out how to help them move through that journey. So this is one practical way that you can help your buyers move through these 3 stages. The first thing I suggest is get in that little airplane and take an overview. Take a look at everything. Take a look at your marketing materials, your website, your social media. How are you presenting yourself as a brand? Look at your visual brand, all of those things, but also look at your verbal brand. Look at the words you're using, okay? Identify all those things. Identify your message. Are you consistently communicating across all platforms? The key is that when you're consistent, you're going to help build trust. Remember the little superhero person? You're going to be standing there helping build that bridge because your buyers are going to trust you because they're encountering consistency. Okay. So if you see some things that are a little bit inconsistent, that's okay, but you need to regroup. You need to refine them until your brand presents a consistent and easy to remember message. And the thing is, if your brand is consistent, it's going to be easy to remember because you're kind of going to be saying the same things over and over again in different ways. Okay. Now, this is an example of what consistent marketing and messaging can look like and how it helps a buyer move from awareness to consideration. So meet Smooth Sky Services. This is a former client of ours, and they are a drone inspection service. Okay. So in this social media post, it says, I won't read the whole thing to you. Don't let minor roof issues become big headaches. Smooth Sky Services. We understand how stressful it can be to maintain your home. That's why we offer you drone roof inspection services, which help you identify minor roof problems before they become costly repairs or replacements. All right, and then I'll stop there. So when I see a social media post, first of all, let me just explain what this is doing for me as a potential customer of Smooth Sky Services. First of all, remember our 3 stages. This post is helping me go from not problem aware to problem aware. Okay. I'm going about my business in my situation room. There's other things going on. Okay. Am I thinking about my roof? Am I thinking about, oh, today I need to make sure I get my roof inspected? No, not at all. Because there's no leaks. Why would I even think about my roof? But all of a sudden, my day has changed and I have moved from not problem aware to problem aware because now I realize that if I don't get my roof inspected, then there could be a problem going on and growing that could cost me a lot of money later. Okay. So I need to identify those minor roof problems before they become costly and expensive. Now, the other thing that the social media post does is it helps me move from not solution aware to solution aware. So, okay, let's say I realize, yes, and I just come to the conclusion, do I want to spend a lot of money on my roof from this huge, huge problem that's growing without me knowing about it? No, of course I don't. Okay, I want to get my roof inspected, but I might not even know that such a thing as drone roof inspection exists. A lot of people don't. Okay. So not only have I moved from not problem aware to problem aware, I've also moved from not solution aware to solution aware. So now I realize my problem is there could be something going on with my roof that I don't know about. And so I need prevention. I need to prevent the costly problem by getting my roof inspected, and not just any roof inspection, but I'm going to hire a drone roof inspection service to make sure that it's thorough and to prevent that costly problem. Okay. So when I visit the website from this social media post, guess what I see? Consistency, a cohesive message that builds trust with me. It gives me more information. So I'm more likely to make a decision. So now I'm going to move across that bridge to buying, and I'm going to purchase the solution offered by the brand. Now, users are going to form an opinion about your website in less than a second. So fast. Okay. First impressions matter. We all know that. Make sure that your message is consistent everywhere you show up for your buyers, or they will scoot away from your website really, really quickly. So consistency in marketing and messaging helps your buyers move from awareness to consideration in that buyer's journey. That's what we want to do. We want to keep them moving. Now, example 2, you want to build that bridge to buying. You want to be the superhero business owner right here. You want to show up for your customers where they are so they know, like, and trust you. You want them to be ready to make that buying decision. Now, the problem is trust isn't being built between you and your customers. Your ads are working. Buyers are aware of you. You know they are. And they know that you have the solution to their problem, but they're not buying. What is going on? What do you need to do to move them across that bridge from consideration to decision? Okay, here's our second way to help buyers keep moving through these 3 stages. So this is an idea from our dear John, who you'll hear from in just a second. So we all are familiar, I think, about anticipating objections that customers might have or questions they might have, right? But this is really, really an interesting way to address those objections, is use case studies. So first we need to think of what are the main questions and objections that our customers have when they decide not to buy from you, or if they're just in that consideration stage and they want to know what's going on, they want to understand, they might have some doubts. Create case studies tied to a common objection that your customer might have and address the objection with the customer's success. And then feature those case studies on your website, in your social media, emails, all the things. And this helps build a strong trust-based relationship with your audience through transparency and engagement. So here's an example of how a case study can help build the bridge to buying from consideration to decision by using customer success to address those objections. So I might be looking for a financial advisor, a financial planner. So I visit Falcon Wealth's website. My objection, my doubt, the things going on in my head are, financial planners are kind of only in it for themselves. What's in it for them? There might be hidden fees. They don't really know me. They don't understand me. Why should I trust them? So it's a trust issue, which I think is pretty common anytime you're dealing with really personal things like finances. So here's the thing. By the time B2B buyers engage a salesperson, when they contact you, they are 70% through their buying process. That means that a lot of things are happening before they contact you. They are searching your website. They're reading all your things. They're asking questions. They're reading recommendations. They're doing some research. Okay. Now, in the past, it didn't used to be like this. In the past, they would call you, ask their questions, talk to you about their objections. You would answer them, and then they would purchase. But now it's flip-flopped. They're going to do all of this stuff ahead of time. If they contact you, that's a really good sign, because that means they're 70% of the way there. So it does shorten the sales cycle a little bit, but you have to make sure that you're addressing the objections they have up front, or they may never contact you. Okay. So sales conversations happen at the end of the sales cycle instead of at the beginning. So what this means, address those objections up front to move people across that bridge to buying so they can make the decision. And so people who visit your website, they want to know, how good are you at what you offer? How much does it cost? But what about, and there's those objections, right? So answer all these questions, address the objections up front. If they have some wrong beliefs about how you do things or cost or anything like that, address those up front. And then that will shorten the sales cycle. So here's an example of a case study for Falcon, where I went and read about how Diane found trust. And guess what? Diane had some of the same struggles that I had with trusting a financial planner. And it talked about the challenge she had, the solutions she encountered, and the results. And that's what I encourage you to do, is create a case study to address those objections. Use customer success to move buyers from consideration to decision in that buyer's journey. So I hope this helps thinking through how we move our buyers through those 3 stages until they make that decision. And so I am going to hand it back over to you, John.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Awesome learnings there, Lynn. And so now that we covered the buyer's journey, let's talk about how we can actually automate it. So now automation is a really big topic, and we have a limited amount of time. So I'm going to cover only 3 areas today. First, marketing, and specifically in the area of generating leads. Now, for lead generation, a lot of companies use lead magnets like ebooks or white papers or something like that. Now, ebooks and white papers are great, but they're static, which means that they can't produce any personalized insights for the person who's reading it. For that, those people are going to have to come and talk to you or call you, which, as Lynn said, is a major friction point now, because unlike the past, people today really hate getting on discovery calls or talking to salespeople. It's literally the last thing that they want to do. In fact, if you actually look, the research published last year shows that by the time a B2B buyer starts contacting vendors, as Lynn said, the buyer is already 70% of the way through the buyer's journey, which means those first 2 boxes that Lynn showed earlier, awareness and consideration, they did all of that on their own. And 70% of them have already identified their top 4 preferred vendors that they want to work with. And here's the most important stat. 84% of those deals are won by the first vendor they contact, which basically means their mind is already made up before they contact you, as Lynn said. So you have to ask yourself then, can your lead magnet get you onto the buyer's shortlist, the top 4, all by itself, without a discovery call to help you? Now, if you're wondering what the data says about that, then here is industry research done on what is working in 2024 for B2B professional service companies. You see, you've got assessments, you've got live demos, downloadables like ebooks, white papers, speaking at conferences, and all that stuff. Now, in your head, I want you to pick the one that you think is the most effective in 2024. All right, got it? Okay, if you picked assessments and consultations, you're right. It is the best lead generator for B2B professional services, even more than speaking at events, which is what I would have guessed. So instead of static lead magnets, you want to use, like the research says, a digital interactive one, like a self-assessment, that can generate color-coded scorecards to break down the prospect's problem into chunks that they can easily understand, and that highlights specific areas where they are strong and where they're weak. And once you have those scores, then underneath you can dynamically show a teaser video based on their lowest score, featuring you, talking through your analysis and your recommended next steps. This is how you can provide personalized insights to the prospect, turn on their light bulbs, and get you to the top of the buyer's shortlist all before they come and talk to you. So in summary, for marketing, specifically for lead gen, an interactive digital scorecard is the best way to engage your prospects because you can deliver instant personalized insights and analysis. Next, let's talk about sales, specifically qualifying prospects. Now, let's say the prospect looked at your scorecard, saw their score, watched your video, and was like, you're right, I do need some help. Let's have a meeting and talk about my scores. Okay. Now, most of us in B2B, what we have is a contact form or an online booking form that looks something like this, right? This is what happens after the prospect submits the form. They get to a thank you page and that's it, which means you have to do all of the qualifying during the discovery call, which means you have less time for your value. So instead, I recommend this, which is after they submit, they are automatically redirected to a step 2. And what I mean by that is now you go from your process that looks something like this to this, where you redirect the prospect to a pre-meeting questionnaire. And on that page, again, you have a video where you can set expectations about what the meeting is going to be about. Like maybe you want to say who else should be there at the meeting, like the CFO, the CIO, or for example. Because if you think about it, if you don't tell people what to expect at the meeting, how are they going to be prepared for it, right? And then underneath, you'll want to ask simple but direct pre-qualifying questions. Now, this is how you can get preliminary fact-finding out of the way before your call. And here's what I see that is very typical. 1, obviously qualify which services they're potentially looking at. 2, you want to qualify for scope. Because if you think about it, knowing if the person is buying a brand new service that they've never bought before versus they're buying something to replace an existing service is huge, right? Because that is a huge difference in scope. And finally, you want to qualify for urgency. Because if you think about it, you want to know, are they looking to launch something in like weeks' time, months' time, years' time? Because now that you know all of these 3 questions ahead of time before your meeting, it's going to make your discovery call so much more productive. Because now you can go into the meeting and you can start illustrating your value props like this. This is your current state, and this is your future state with me. Again, because you collected all of the information before the meeting, you can present this slide in meeting number 1 or something like this. Just think about it. Typically in a discovery call, there's a lot of fact finding, there's a lot of questions, and you're not able to present a slide like this or the one before until meeting number 2. But that assumes that you're going to get a meeting number 2. When you collect all of this information ahead of time, you can present this at meeting number 1, potentially saving yourself an entire meeting, therefore speeding up your sales process. All right. So in summary, for sales, you want to qualify before the discovery call. We find that this technique can save you 7 to 10 minutes of fact finding, which means you free up time to showcase your expertise and you have time to paint the picture of their current state versus future state. And the best thing is, if people skip the questionnaire, then no harm is really done, right? Because then you can just follow the exact same process that you're doing today, which is you fact find during the discovery call. But luckily, our data shows that you'll get 70 to 80% completion rates because once a prospect commits to a call, they're going to want it to be productive too, just like you. So last thing, we're going to talk about onboarding new customers. Now, in B2B, this could take weeks, this could take months. Now, for the sake of time, I'm only going to talk about the very beginning, which is right after the signature, right after they sign your contract. Now, a lot of companies will send out welcome letters with detailed instructions or have customers work through checklists and spreadsheets and Word docs and stuff like that. But let's be honest here. This is not what customers expect from B2B professional services, right? They want you to guide them, not give them a ton of homework. So other companies then swing to the complete opposite, which is lots of hand-holding, lots of meetings, emails and reminders. But that's very time and resource intensive, not just for you, but for the customer as well. Because if you think about it, it is really hard to find time on everybody's calendars to get all of these meetings booked. So both of these strategies are full of friction. Now, this is where you should have an automated, easy to follow step-by-step process that separates the administrative tasks in the blue circle from the consultative meetings. That way, the customer can assign proper people on their team to work on their homework items, like giving you billing details or project logos or upload files and assets or stuff like that, all before your kickoff meeting. So in summary, for onboarding, you want to break down the process into a series of easy to follow steps so that the customer, or usually the owner that you're talking to, can easily assign it to people on their team to take care of the details. Because you don't want to bog the owner down with all of that stuff. That way you and the owner are not using up consultative time talking about administrative details and homework assignments. So now that we covered both parts of the buyer's journey and the automation, the key question now is, what's the next step? Where do you want to go from here now that you know what you've learned? And I would suggest that the next logical step is to get expert advice. So Lynn and I are happy to go over these things in detail with you, specifically how to apply the things that you've learned in this webinar to your business, because we know everybody's business is different. So getting personalized insights would be very, very good next step for you. So you can find our calendar links in the video description below. And with that said, thank you for watching.